Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining me in Movement in Menopause. We are going to do a bit of a strength workout, maybe 20 to 30 minutes. I'll know when we're done. But we're going to start in all fours. So let's come on, pressing down into our finger pads, lining up your shoulders over your wrists and your knees just beneath your hips or maybe slightly behind. And we're just going to start moving through the spine in a cat-cow. So when we start the cat-cow, we want to just start the movement at the tail. So just lifting, flaring your tail up towards the sky, letting your belly drop, your chest drop, and looking up with the inhale. And then on the exhale, again, starting that movement of the spine, just kind of feeling it vertebrae by vertebrae, tucking the tail underneath, spreading your shoulder blades apart, pulling your belly up to your spine and letting your head drop down to your chin. And then inhaling, repeating that movement from the tail to the crown of the head. And then exhaling, rounding, letting your head drop. Relax, just kind of feeling this movement within your spine. And in this space, your toes can be tucked or untucked, whatever's comfortable for you. Some people kind of like to move their toes back and forth with the movement. Tucking with the inhale and untucking with the exhale. Let's do maybe 2 more rounds of this movement of cat-cow. And when you're done at the base of your last breath, just coming to a neutral spine. And we're going to do some thread the needle. We're going to make it more of a dynamic movement, so we're not going to stay in it until the end. I should say until the third round. So let's just start by lifting your right hand up to the sky. And then coming through, bringing that hand and arm in between your left arm and leg on the exhale. And then inhale, let's bring that right arm back up to the sky. And exhale, thread it through. Last time, bringing that arm up to the sky. And then when we thread it through, we're going to just stay here for a couple of breaths. So whatever's comfortable. Maybe you want like a little block or a blanket underneath your head if it's too much to bring your cheek down to the ground. And if you'd like to walk your left fingertips out in front of you, and think about where your hips are, your knees are, just trying to square that off. And maybe you can use your left hand to push a little bit more into that thoracic twist. Nice deep inhale, bringing all the air into the back of your lungs. And then on the exhale, walking your left hand back towards your face. Pressing that in, reaching the right arm up to the sky, and then letting your right hand drop back down to the mat. And let's do 2 rounds of cat-cow just to kind of get yourself back into the center. Inhaling, looking up, and exhaling, rounding through, let your head drop. 1 more inhale. And exhale, round. Coming back to center. Pressing into the finger pads, knuckles of your right hand. Reach your left hand up to the sky. And exhale, thread it through. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, thread through. Inhale, reaching up 1 more time. And then exhale, dropping your shoulder, your cheek down to the mat. Squaring off your hips as much as you can down on the mat. And maybe walking those right fingertips forward. Bringing this twist to your upper spine. Nice deep breaths. Feeling your back expand. One more deep breath in. And then exhale, bringing your right palm back towards your face, pressing into that palm. Reach your left hand up to the sky. And then exhale, bringing that both back down. And just taking a breath and recentering where you are. And then I'm going to tuck my toes here, and I'm going to bring that my right foot back to the back of the mat. Leaving my toes tucked, I just want to stretch through the calf. Maybe rocking back and forth, coming in and out of that calf stretch. Inhaling, coming forward, exhaling, pushing back. And then hold in that stretch. And when you're ready, lifting that back heel up towards, to make it parallel to your hips. Pointing your toes towards the mat. And just start feeling a little bit grounded here. Right now, you have both palms on the mat and your left knee and toes tucked under. And then we're going to take away one little base of, I don't want to call it safety here, but where your balance is, you're going to challenge your balance a little bit more, bringing your left arm up alongside your left ear. Whoop. Okay. And then take a deep breath in. And then exhale, bringing your knee to your elbow, elbow to knee. Inhale, reaching out. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, reach out. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, reach out, taking a nice deep breath. Fingertips reaching out as far in front of you as you can. Heel pressing back. And then on your exhale, dropping your hand, dropping your knee. And then just recenter, breathe. Inhale and exhale. And then we're going to do the other side. So taking that left foot back to the back of your mat, toes tucked under, just feeling a little bit of a calf stretch there. And then start rocking forward and back, feeling that stretch in the back of your calf. Inhaling forward, exhale back. And let's do that rocking motion 2 more times. And then hold. Feeling that stretch continue in the back of the calf. And then when you're ready, lifting that back heel up, keeping that whole leg in line with your hip. And just pressing that, like keeping your leg and whole leg active, pressing your heel back towards the back of the mat. And then when you're ready to take away that 1 point of balance, lifting up your right arm and holding it alongside your ear. And connecting with the ground, what is touching. Trying to use your finger pads, fingertips to press into the mat and taking a little bit of the weight off of the wrist. And then take a big inhale and exhale, knee to elbow, elbow to knee. Inhale, reach. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, reach. One last time, elbow to knee. And then reaching out and holding for another breath. Take a nice deep inhale, reaching as far forward and back as you can. And then exhale, drop your hand, drop your knee, and center. Nice deep breath in. And exhale through the nose. And the next pose we're going to do is bear. So keeping both toes tucked, fingertips and pads pressing into the mat. We're just going to lift our knees like an inch off the mat and hold. Focusing on your breath here, pulling in your belly into your spine, kind of feeling like you might have a corset around you, just using this muscular action in your core. We're going to do two more long breaths here. Inhale and exhale. One more inhale and exhale. And then releasing your knees to the ground. Spread your knees wide, toes untucked, bring them together, and pressing your hips back to your heels, reaching your arms out forward, and just come to a child's pose. Feeling your inhales and your exhales. Having your whole chest and back expand. Letting that breath come all the way down to your belly. With which your thighs spread open. You can just kind of leave space for your belly to expand. One more last inhale. And exhale. And then coming back up to all fours. Bringing your knees more in line with your hips. Tuck your toes. And pressing up to downward facing dog. And we're just gonna hold in this dog for a couple of breaths. So starting with your fingertips, making sure your fingertips and finger pads are pressing into the mat, taking the pressure off of your wrists, letting your chest drop towards your thighs, and coming up on your tippy toes, bend your knees so that you can bring your knees or your thighs and your chest closer together. Taking a deep breath. Sticking your butt up towards the sky. That should be the highest point of the pose. And then let's drop the left heel towards the mat. Keeping the right knee bent. Take a nice deep breath in. And exhale. And then switch. Bending the left knee, drop the right heel towards the mat. Inhale and exhale. And then bending both knees, looking forward. Just start to take some steps to the front of your mat, coming into a forward fold. Take an inhale and come up to a flat back, bringing your palms to your shins. And then exhale, lower back down, forward fold. Inhale, again, coming up halfway, but bringing your hands to your hips, pressing firmly down into your feet. Come to stand. Reach up, take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, folding all the way forward. Inhale, lift up halfway, hands to shins. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale, palms to heart center. And we'll go through that a couple of more times. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, press firmly down into your feet. Reach all the way up. Exhale, palms to heart center. And one more time. Inhale, reaching all the way up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway, and exhale, fold. Inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale, palms to heart center. And close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you. And just notice how you feel. If maybe you're already feeling a little bit more strength, especially in your core. One more deep breath in and exhale. Inhale, let's reach your arms all the way up. Exhale, fold all the way down. Place your palms on the mat and step back to your downward facing dog. And let's lift your left leg up towards the sky. Keep your hips square right now and just see how far you can kick your heel up. And then bringing your knee towards your chest, start to roll forward and then stepping that foot in between your hands, helping it out if you need. And staying up on your toes with your heel up on your back foot, just pressing firmly both feet into the mat as you come up to a high lunge. Just let your arms drape beside you. Just let them fall. Maybe in your high lunge, we're going to start a little bit with a bent knee in the back, just to bring your torso more upright, sinking down into the front knee, and then start to push that back leg towards straight. Reach your arms up, take a nice deep inhale, and then see if you can sink your pelvis down a little bit. Let your shoulder blades drop down your back. And then we're going to do a little bit of up and down. So as we go down, I'm going to bring my arms into cactus and let my knee drop almost to the mat. And then press back up. Inhaling, coming down. Exhale, press back up. Trying to keep that bend in the front knee though. We don't want to straighten that out. One more time, inhaling, coming down. Exhale, press back up. And then we're going to open up to a warrior two. So dropping that the right heel to the back of the mat. Left knee is still in a 90-degree angle, or at least towards it. Squeezing, you want to keep some muscle energy going here, especially since we're kind of focusing on strength. So I want you to feel an action of squeezing both of your legs toward each other, just to kind of activate some of the muscles there. Let your shoulder blades drop down your back, reaching your fingertips in either direction. Take a nice deep breath in. And then exhale, let's drop your left elbow to your left knee and reaching your right arm up alongside your ear. Keeping that muscle action where you're squeezing those thighs toward each other. Take a nice deep breath in. And exhale. Take a deep breath in, coming back up to warrior two. And then straighten that front leg. We're going to move to a triangle. I'm going to grab my block. I should have had that at the front of my mat already. So here we are in triangle. Reaching forward and letting your hand drop to your shin, to the floor, or to a block on the outside edge of your foot. Reaching your right fingertips up towards the sky. And try not to let this be a passive pose. So bring the action here of pulling your kneecap up your thigh, just to keep some muscle energy going there. And if you find that you're that your back is rounding forward, come up a little bit higher. So maybe bringing that block to a higher setting or coming up higher on your leg. And let's bring that right hand to the right hip. I'm going to take my block and just put it a couple of inches forward of my left foot, keeping my hand on the block, bringing my right heel up, and I'm going to open up my hip. Whoops. Opening up the hip. And we're trying to get our right leg in line with our hips. And then if it's available to you, reaching that right arm up to the sky. Pressing down through all four corners of that left foot. And squeezing, like hugging your thigh muscles to your bone on that left leg. And then bring your hand back down to your hip, stepping that right foot back to the back of the mat. We're going to come to a forward fold, so facing the long edge of your mat, and both feet are facing forward. Now, we're going to hinge right at the hips and just start to fold forward. Maybe dropping your fingertips to the mat. If that's not available, maybe a block. Just take a deep breath in. And then fold. See if you can fold a little bit deeper. Inhale, coming back up halfway. And then exhaling, folding. And we're going to just hold in this stretch for a couple of breaths. If it's too much, please back out of it. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale. One more time. And exhale. And then we're going to turn to face the back of our mat. So we're going to come back, start in a low lunge, but working our way back up to the high lunge. So your right toes, right now your right knee is your right foot, your right knee are the ones that are up front. I'll call this the front of the mat now. Left, you're on the back left toes. Squeezing your legs toward each other. Start to just press yourself up to a high lunge. Letting your arms just drape alongside you. And again, maybe trying to find yourself in this pose. So right toes are facing forward, knee is tracking over those front toes. Let's start with a slight bend in that back leg, bringing your torso upright. And then start to press that back leg towards straight. Take a deep breath in, reaching up. And then letting your pelvis drop closer to the ground, making sure that you're not shrugging up at the ears, letting your shoulders drop down. And then we're going to take those presses down. So inhaling, arms down to cactus, knee bending towards the mat. Exhale, press up. And it's almost like you're really just bending and straightening that back knee because you're not trying to do any too much of a change in the front. One more time. And then press back up. And then let's open up to the warrior two on the right side. So your whole back foot is now down on the mat. You swiveled that back heel down. Your arch is in line with your back, the back of your right heel. And we're just going to settle in to this pose, holding for a minute, feeling the strength of the pose of the warrior. Again, just making sure that your shoulders aren't shrugging up. Take a nice deep breath in. And then on the exhale, drop your elbow to your knee and reaching that left arm up alongside your ear. Take a nice deep breath in. And exhale. Squeezing those legs isometrically toward each other. One more inhale. And exhale. Coming back up to warrior two. Straightening through that front leg, your right leg, and then start to reach your arms forward and dropping your hand to your shin or to a block on the outside edge of your foot, opening up through the chest, so kind of even pulling those bottom ribs forward, and then reaching your left fingertips up to the sky, keeping the muscle action and energy going through your right leg. And again, if you find yourself rolling forward, come up a little bit higher. And just feel this stretch. This is honestly one of my favorite poses, but I always have to remember to keep the muscle energy going so that I'm not just doing some passive stretch in it. Nice deep breath in and exhale. And let's bring your left hand to your left hip, coming up a little bit forward, bringing your block a couple inches in front of your foot. I'm going to move. There seems to be like a stick here. And then slowly lifting up that back leg, opening up to half moon. And I love a block here in half moon. For some reason, I just cannot get to the floor. So lifting up that left leg, keeping it in line with your hip. Left fingertips may reach up, maybe they don't. I'm wobbling so much right now on this leg. Seems to be harder on this side for me, and you'll find that every side is different for you. So taking that left hand back down to your left hips, slowly coming back down, and then we're going to go back to facing both feet forward in that forward fold, facing the long edge of your mat. And then on your exhale, letting it go a little bit deeper into the stretch. And maybe this time you see a difference than you did when you did the forward fold earlier. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, looking up. And then coming back to the front of the mat, the original front of the mat, so your left leg is forward, and then stepping back to downward facing dog. And let your knees drop down to the ground, knees wide, toes untucked, toes together, and coming back to a child's pose, just for a couple of breaths. Just nice deep inhales, and long, slow exhale, just to bring your heart rate down a little bit. We have a little bit more work to do. So let's come back up onto all fours. Bringing your knees back to hip distance apart. Tuck your toes. Press up to downward facing dog. And let's kick your right heel up towards the sky. Bend the knee and let's open up the hips. So I'm trying to, in this time around, we're going to try to square the shoulders to the front of the mat and just have the hips open up. Just taking a deep breath in, maybe seeing if you can point your knee up a little bit higher. And then swinging that knee toward your chest. And then we're going to turn the shin so that it's towards parallel to the front of the mat. Walking that left foot back a little bit, coming into your pigeon. So in the pigeon, your toes can be tucked or untucked. Sometimes I feel like it depends on how it makes your knees feel. So I'm going to leave it tucked for now. And when I say shin towards parallel, my shin is never parallel to the front of the mat. I'm always at an angle here. So we're going to start with an active pigeon and then let it be passive, just meaning that we're going to use some of the muscle action at the beginning. So I'm going to basically try to squeeze both of my knees toward each other, and that's going to lift my hip up off the mat a little bit more. So right now my fingertips are on the mat. I'm going to try to walk it back a little bit so that my torso is up a little bit higher. and then take that action of squeezing both of my knees toward each other. And that's going to lift my hips up off the mat and maybe even get me to a point where I'm taking my hands off the mat, my fingertips. And you can always leave them down for a little bit of safety. But I'm just going to squeeze, hold, hold, hold. One more deep breath in. And exhale, and then release. So now we'll go into the passive pigeon. So just kind of letting those hips relax into the ground. Maybe come down onto your forearms. You can, again, think of what you want to do with your toes on the back foot, tucked or untucked. And then just breathe and relax into this shape. And just try to take a nice long inhale and a slow exhale through the nose. One more long inhale and exhale. And coming back up onto your palms, tuck the back toes if they're not tucked already. And then press yourself back up to downward facing dog. And in your downward facing dog, just make any movement that might feel good for you right now. Pigeon can kind of bring up a lot, even just in the body, how it makes your leg feel like you need to kind of press it out a little bit. Sometimes I like to just kick it back a little. Okay, so right toes down onto the mat. Let's lift our left leg up towards the ceiling, heel to the ceiling, bending the left knee, opening up the hip. So now you're just trying to stack your left hip over the right, squaring off your shoulders to the front of the mat. Nice deep breath in, seeing if maybe you can bring your knee up a little bit higher. And then bringing that knee into the chest and swiveling that shin towards parallel. So your left knee is towards your left wrist and your left ankle is in line with your right wrist. So again, we're going to do that active pigeon. So I'm going to start to walk my torso more a little bit upright. And squeeze. So you can see as I'm like squeezing, I'm lifting my pelvis up off the mat. So let's do that. Squeezing and hold. Hold. Bring more activity into that squeeze. Maybe even like pulse it. Squeeze. Squeeze. Whew. One more deep breath in. And exhale. And then release. And then coming down, maybe onto your elbows. And if your elbows are too far from the mat, you can always use a block to rest your elbows on. But let the pelvis relax down towards the mat. And that's the last bit of work that we have today. So we're just going to kind of slow everything down for the next few minutes. Taking a deep breath in and exhale. One more breath in and exhale. And then coming up onto your palms, we're just going to let yourself fold down onto the left hip and swing your legs around in front of you. And then let's lie on your back with your knees bent, feet flat on the mat. And I'm going to bring my arms up into a cactus. So it's like a kind of a goalpost shaped that we did when we were doing the high lunge before. Bring your feet as wide as the outer edges of your mat and just start to let your knees fall side to side. And maybe you're moving with your breath. You can take this as fast or as slow as you need. And the next time your knees fall to the right, just let them stay. And if you want to bring a little bit extra stretch on this one, take that right ankle and just drop it over above your left knee. And that'll just kind of pull a little bit more into the stretch on the left leg, on the left side. And you'll notice maybe that your breathing is starting to slow down. Letting your heart rate start to come down. One more breath. And release. If you have your right leg on top of your left, let's press that back down to the mat. And then let's swing side to side again, just to kind of recenter yourself. And then the next time your knees drop to the left, let them drop. And again, if you wanted to add that additional oomph to your stretch, you can let your left ankle drape above your right knee. And that brings a little bit extra. I have sweat in my eyeball. And one more deep breath in. And exhale. And then inhale, bringing both knees back up to center. And let's bring your right knee into the chest. Maybe rotating around the ankles a little bit. Just circling them in each direction as whatever feels good to you right now. And then I'm going to we'll do a half happy baby. So I'm going to bring my right arm to the inside of my right leg and grab the outside edge of my right foot, pulling my knee in towards my armpit. Just take a nice deep breath here. And exhale. And inhale. And release. Bringing that foot back down to the mat. And your left leg into your chest. And again, doing some circles with that ankle on the left foot. And then a half happy baby on the left. So arm on the inside edge of the left knee, and then grabbing the outside edge of the left foot and bringing that armpit, pulling it down, bringing your knee towards your armpit. Your armpit's not moving. Take a deep breath in and exhale. 2 more breaths here. Feeling that stretch, and then releasing that foot back down to the mat, arms along your side, and then letting your feet go long for a moment or 2 or 3 of Shavasana. And just starting to let yourself surrender to the earth. Releasing any tension that you may have. And just noticing what's touching the earth and what's feeling the air. And then you can stay here as long as you like. And I thank you for joining me in movement in menopause.